Hello, my name is Emily Johnston, and I'm a senior at North Carolina State University studying fisheries, wildlife, and conservation biology. And the topic of this discussion is the effects of human development and gross primary productivity on mammalian distribution. Have you ever wondered how we as humans affect the distributions and abundance of mammals through the way we expand and develop or cultivate our land? It's thought that mammal distribution and abundance are both affected by gross primary productivity and human development, although the importance of each factor on mammal distribution and abundance is not really well known. So in order to look into this, we defined gross primary productivity as the total amount of fixed carbon produced during photosynthesis from all primary producers in an ecosystem. And our hypothesis before analyzing the data was that as gross primary productivity increased, we assumed that the abundance of mammals would also increase, providing the mechanism for increased species richness as well. Data was collected from the 2019 Snapshot USA Mammal Survey, where 1,530 cameras collected mammal data across 107 camera sites. The main objective for the data was to investigate whether human development affects the gross primary productivity abundance relationship using a linear regression model. So we looked at mammal abundance using detection rate, and we defined that as the number of detections divided by the total days cameras were deployed. And we also looked at human impacts. We measured this using population density and the percentage of cultivated land at 1 kilometer squared scale. So this first figure visualizes each camera site across the United States from the Mammal Survey, which includes all 1,530 camera traps. The size of each dot represents the detection rate, so a larger dot would indicate a higher detection rate of all the mammals combined from that study site. This graph in figure 2 represents the relationship between cumulative annual GPP, or gross primary productivity, and the mammal detection rates. So as you can see, the trend line is almost flat, leaning a little to the negative side, but showing no significance between the detection rate of mammals and the cumulative GPP. Though here in figure 3, we look at the relationship between human population and mammal detection rate. So unlike figure 2 with no correlation, as you can see from the trend line here, there is a positive correlation between the mammal detection rate and the human population. So as there's more humans in an area, you would also see more mammals within that area. And finally here within figure 4, we examine the relationship between the percent of cultivation and the mammal detection rate. So similar to figure 3 with the human abundance and population size compared to the mammals, there's also a positive correlation here with the percent of cultivation. As you can see, the trend line is also positive, and also indicating that the higher amounts of cultivation, the higher amounts of mammals that would be detected within that area as well. So what we can conclude from this data is that there was an increase in detection rate of mammals with an increased amount of cultivation. This shows that the higher percentages of cultivation can provide more resources to mammals and can support those larger populations, which really emphasizes the importance of food supplementation for wildlife populations, especially near urban areas as well. These higher human populations may also provide more resources to mammal species which have adapted to the human disturbed landscapes. Secondly, gross primary productivity alone is not a good determinant of mammalian abundance. This suggests that the large-scale patterns of abundance of mammals are likely to be driven by a more complex set of factors, which needs further research. But this research is significant because human development is continuously increasing. And in order to better preserve mammal species, it's important to understand the factors which affect their abundance. And in terms of future management, it's important to see these relationships on mammal abundance because through this data, we found that human development had a larger impact than the gross primary productivity. So we can see which areas we really need to focus on in order to have the best results in preserving these mammal species.